Good evening, and thank you for joining us as we present this webinar, Clipped, Powering College Golf with Game-Changing Insights. I want to thank our friends at the Northern California PGA Section and the Northern California Golf Association for extending the invitation to their members and the members of the Northern California Golf Association Junior Tournament Program. My name is John Boykin, and I'm the Senior PGA Professional for Clipped. If your goal is to play college golf, you need to know about Clipped and why this remarkable technology is being used by more than 150 men's and women's college programs across the country, a number that will grow to 250 plus this fall. Joining us on the webinar is John Halpern, Managing Director of Clipped USA, and Marc Chandonnet, Women's and Men's Head Golf Coach at Seattle University. We'll be hearing from Marc throughout the program. What is Clip? Clip is an AI-driven performance app that's used by the best college programs and players. It tracks your entire game, every golf shot on the course and every shot in your practice sessions. The result is a totally data-driven, objective view of your entire game. A college coach using Clip loves the phrase, why guess when you can measure? Clip reveals your superpowers. It shows what you do best when you play well, shows your strengths and highlights your weaknesses. With Clip, you get a true assessment. We call it the real versus feel. Clip's What to Work On is a unique priority list for your game, providing personalized practice plans, resulting in purposeful practice, making your time more efficient, and getting you better. Clip's impact on the college golf over the past 2 seasons is nothing short of amazing. In 2023-24 season alone, 101 team tournament wins, including Stanford women's team winning the NCAA championship. And this is following Wake Forest women's team using the 2023 national championship in their first year using Clip. It includes Coach Chandonnet's Seattle University women's team winning their first conference championship. Congrats, Marc.
Thank you.
Clip college players won 125 individual championships, including Hiroshi Tai of Georgia Tech, winning the men's NCAA individual trophy, and Lottie Woad, winning the 2024 Augusta National Women's Invitational. Georgia Tech was the first college program to use Clip. Head coach Bruce Hepler, winner of 19 conference championships in 29 years, immediately saw the benefits of his players using Clip. In their first season partnering with Clip, Georgia Tech won the ACC championship, won the NCAA regional with a record score, and made it to the NCAA men's finals. Clip showed Christo Lamprecht what he needed to take his game to becoming a champion. Christo was unaware of his wedge play and its impact on his game and his scoring. He altered his practice focus, and as a result, he won the 2023 British Amateur and became the #1 ranked amateur in the world. College coaches are telling us the importance of collecting stats, data, when making recruiting decisions. Here's a comment from Georgia Tech assistant coach Devin Stanton about the importance of collecting data, and specifically as delivered in a Clipped account. College coaches are asking, can you share your stats, your data? Marc, can you comment on the importance of collecting stats, data by aspiring college golfers? You're known to be very data-driven. How does Clip align with your philosophy?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, if you can't measure it, it can't be improved, right? I think that that's the most important thing to remember when you're looking at, your game and where you want it to go. And having some information around other players and other success stories and being able to see where your game lines up with those and is huge. It's a great part of our ability to help these players understand who they are and how they can get to the level that they want to.
What makes Clip so easy to understand and embrace? It's the language of Clip. Every golf shot you hit, both on the golf course and in practice, it's accurate. Clip assigns a shot quality score to every golf shot. Shot quality considers the factors that influence the results of a golf shot: the weather, course conditions, course difficulty. Clip's aspirational. You can compare your shot quality numbers to those of tour players, college golfers, and even those you currently compete with. Clip's also insightful. It analyzes your data and shares truths about your game, shows trends both upward and down. Mark, you've said you teach your players to practice less and gain more. Please explain that, and how does Clip support that approach?
Yeah, I think it's such an important thing to understand when you're making a transition from, high school level play to the collegiate level. The pressures involved with wanting to play well for not only yourself, but your coaches and your teammates, moving away from home for the first time, trying to manage all the little things associated with, making sure that your day-to-day activities are in line with being able to play great. This, I definitely preach that exactly what you said, John. I think it's so important to understand how you can enhance the way you practice and be efficient with it and measure it so that it becomes more valuable. It's the simple things like saying, I'm going to get into a bunker today and I'm not going to get out of this bunker until I hole it out 3 times or something like that. And those little tasks help you to feel more accomplished, and they force you into positions where you can potentially induce emotion in your practice environment, which I think is a really big deal. Because when you're competing, at the championship level, you need to understand how you deal with those emotions and how you deal with your responses to those things. And if you can infuse that into your practice somehow, then you've got a winning environment, especially when you're focused on, the things that Clips tells you need to improve to get your scores to be lower.
I mentioned the language of Clip: shot quality, player quality. It's the core metric that powers all others. Clip uses a scale of 0 to 200. 0 is the poorest possible golf shot. You tee it up, you hit it out of bounds, it has no value. 200 is statistical perfection. You make a hole in one, you hole it from the fairway. It's a perfect golf shot. And just to give you context, 100 is tour average. And we'll touch on that a little bit more in just a minute. We hear on television, strokes gained. Well, if you're familiar with it, how does it really work? And how is shot quality with Clip a different metric? In the 2023 Open Championship played at Royal Liverpool, the par 3 17th hole got a lot of attention. It's a short hole, short par 3, measuring about 140 yards. So as this slide depicts, on a sunny day, no wind or rain, this player hit the green, leaving 15 feet for birdie. Strokes gained awarded this shot a value of plus 0.19. Clip shot quality, AI, gave it a score of 95. Let's take a look at another slide. This is the same golf hole, same distance, same result, but with the addition of 30-mile-per-hour winds and heavy rains. You'll notice in the lower left-hand corner, strokes gained again awarded the same shot value of plus 0.19. Clip shot quality, with the added conditions making this golf shot and the same 15-foot result far more difficult, gave it a score of 124. We hope that this shows you one of the key components of how Clip looks at every golf shot that you hit. Shot quality scores in the 4 areas of your game are used to determine your player quality, the overall assessment of your game. This is what you see on your Clipped account on both your phone, laptop, or tablet. This is your player dashboard. And you'll notice 4 rings to the right of the blue ring of 91. Those 4 rings represent off the tee, approach, around the green, and putting. These are the 4 segments of your game. The average shot quality in each rolls up to produce your player quality. That's the score in the far left blue circle, 91, just below tour average. Again, we use the same 0 to 200 scale in coming up with your player quality. Marc, again, welcome and thank you for taking the time to be with us. I know that you're in the busy sort of recruiting cycle and all the things that college coaches do this time of year. And again, congratulations to your women's team on their first conference championship under you. And I got a few questions I just want to pose for you. And so here's the first one. How does using Clipped build confidence in your players?
Well, I think the biggest thing is how can you improve your practice, right? We've already talked about that. And if the players, have the ability to go in and look at the areas where they can do that, it makes their practice exponentially, more efficient and quicker. It makes them feel like when they go out there, they're improving the things that are going to lower their scores. And it's just been very helpful that way. And, I think, John, one of the biggest things is the ease of use for the system. Like the students have to love it. They have to love it. It can't be something that the coach pushes on these players. If they're not bought into the ease of it, to the information that it's providing, and to the hope that it's going to make them better, then you really don't have anything. And I feel like Clipped has done that very well. That's been the biggest thing.
Well, Marc, let's touch on that again. You and many other college coaches asked Clip to create an easy-to-use way to enter golf rounds, every shot, and Clip did. It's called Clip Capture. Please tell us about your thoughts about Clip Capture and how your players use it.
Again, I've been a coach for 20 years now. We've used multiple systems over those years. This is probably one of the first ones in all of my time of coaching where I've never really had players complain about entering statistics. It seems it's quick, it's efficient. They understand after just a few rounds of doing it what they need to do after each round to accomplish the task. And it just hasn't been very difficult for them. So that's been the best part.
I mean, we're hearing back from coaches, and I'm sure this would be your experience too, that it only takes 5 to 7 minutes to enter an 18-hole round after the conclusion of the round. Is that been your experience?
Yes, that's correct. And, for some of our players, they can do it even a bit quicker because they know exactly how to keep the stats during the round to make it more efficient when they're finished. You get some of the players that think they can remember everything, and it makes it a little more difficult. So, if you just have your whole location sheet and you're marking down some of the information, it's been very quick. Yes.
Talk to us about your women's team winning their first conference championship. That had to have been just exhilarating. We've seen the photographs and we know the celebration.
Yeah.
And we're going to ask, how did using Clip contribute to that win?
Well, the players bought in. They were using it every single time they went to practice. I didn't even have to ask them. They had their phones out and they were using the record practice drills sections of short game and where they could really improve who they were as a player. So I think that the discipline and consistency that allowed them to bring into their games was very helpful. But even more importantly, John, and it was the fact that they were doing this for a little while and they saw results. The results drove the usage. And it just snowballed into a place where they started to shoot the scores that they were capable of.
Let's go back to the topic of recruiting. How do you see Clipped providing help in that process? We hear from many coaches that a recruit having a Clipped account would be very valuable. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, especially if we can see round insights, see how players bounce back from, difficult holes, or, identify some of the inconsistencies in their game. And then watching them play, having the two things together, we can kind of get a really good feel for, who they are and how they can improve. And listen, college coaches, we have relationships with their instructors. So if we're really interested in a kid and we can see this data, we can have intelligent conversations with instructors about what they're doing to help this kid prepare to be, playing for us at the collegiate level. It kind of ties that communication loop together for everybody and can help a kid get better.
For junior golfers having the goal of playing college golf, you've touched on this already, but share with us a little bit more about the importance of them starting earlier to collect their stats, their data. And quite frankly, how, in your experience, Clipped is leading the way to have that happen.
Yeah. Like in the beginning when I spoke to the Clip folks, all of you guys, one of the biggest things I wanted was recording practice drills. Again, I think if you can infuse emotion into your practice and you can record that practice data, then you're significantly improving your ability to play at the next level, right? There's for the young people looking to move on and play collegiate golf, there is no shortcut for experience. There's no shortcut for experience. But if you improve your practice, if your practice becomes more focused, you will see wins every single day, and you'll feel good about those wins. And they'll prepare you better for when the opportunity arises to compete at the collegiate level. But even more important, all these teams are doing this stuff. And so if you're not doing it now, it's going to be new to you, and it could have an impact on what your normal routines are, right? And you need to be thinking about all areas that you can improve. That's what the best players are doing, and that's why they play at the level they do, because they're consistent, they're disciplined, but they have information and knowledge around how they can really be better.
Well, thanks, Mark. Let me move on to our next slide. As a result of Clip's success in college golf, the NCAA approached Clip to provide live scoring and player and team rankings for all of college golf. All college golf tournaments, all levels, divisions, beginning this fall. The result is that NCAA and Clip have agreed to a long-term partnership to provide those live scoring for tournaments and also player and team rankings. Additionally, the National Association of Intercollegiate Athletics and the National Junior College Athletic Association have also entered into agreements with Clip for Clip to provide live scoring and rankings for those divisions. So all of college golf is now being impacted by Clip. So before we move into the availability of Clip to parents and juniors on this webinar and through the PGA section and the Northern California Golf Association, let's look at another quote from Lottie Woad. I mean, the #1 women player in the world. I would definitely recommend Clip to anyone who's looking to get to college, because it's really the best way to know what you need to work on. So we have a lot of success here and a lot of experience, and what Clip would like to do is to make available to those of you on the webinar tonight, or those of you who may have an opportunity to look at this at a later time. It is being recorded, and the information about where to see it will be disseminated by both the Northern California PGA Section and also the Northern California Golf Association. But take out your phone, focus on that QR code. You'll get a 25% discount off a Clip subscription. Regular price of $240. Your price will be $180. But we'll also give you a free 30-day trial. So again, take a look at that QR code. Also in the email that you received inviting you to this webinar, there's a link to the same exclusive offer. So click on it, click on the link, and take advantage of that 30-day free trial. So if you have any questions for Mark or John Halpern, please click on the Q&A button at the bottom of the screen. We already have a couple of questions that have come in. John Halpern, can you address, are there additional ways to enter golf rounds into Clipped?
Yeah, I think thanks, John, and Coach, thanks for the input today. It was incredible to hear from my perspective. And again, John Halpern, I run U.S. business for Clipped and have really been on the ground interacting with hundreds of college coaches across the country, thousands of junior players across the country. And, some of the innovation that we're bringing to the game includes taking on additional technology. So there's a company called Arcos, which some of you may be familiar with. We have an integration with them as a partner. So if you are on their system and you are collecting your shot level data via your Arcos system, you can get that information directly into Clipped. All of those shots will be recorded and given a shot quality, as John has explained earlier in the presentation. Our friends at Garmin, maybe some of you own a Garmin watch, are starting to collect GPS data and where you are on golf course, etc. You can also use that to get shot level data into your system. And as John and Coach mentioned, that our own internal application allows you to collect that information. Most people that are really engaged with their game, we found, that are really interested in getting better, who are paying attention to every shot that they take, being very, very purposeful in the way that they play, and truly the only way to get better is they're able to recollect those rounds shot by shot and get that information directly into our system via our own app. So those are the three current ways. We're continually working on other ways to get information into Clipped.
Thanks, John. Mark, in your use of Clipped, and you've already mentioned this a couple of times, but could you speak a little bit more to the off-course functionality that Clipped provides your players, you as a coach, for you to be able to see test data through TrackMan, those kind of things? Could you speak to that?
And yeah, I definitely wanted to touch on that. I'd say the two biggest things for me in working with Clipped in your organization is how supportive you guys are to listening. I think everybody's done such an incredible job at continuing to develop and improve the app and the information, and that's a huge part of the success, number one. But like John said, the system is connected to technology. So when I go in and I create these tests for my players in the TrackMan test center, that data can be transferable to each student's account. And then when we're in the record practice drill session, they can use the TrackMan data to actually, they have to input some of it on their own in those cases, but you're getting really high quality data to take these tests and to get the information. So again, like being efficient, making sure that your practice is quality versus quantity is very easy with Clipped, and it's been a huge advantage.
John, we have another question for you. One of our listeners, it says, how are coaches able to see my child's data? Is it publicly available?
Yeah, so an excellent question, and we're very sensitive to the issue of protecting the privacy of our kids and our juniors, and we actually do the same on the college level. Is that the individual owner of the Clipped account controls who can see their data, and often they, via a link or via an invite, can invite their coach in to view all of their information. And I think that interaction between coach and player, whether it be on the college level or you're a 10th grader or 11th grader that's working with a swing coach at home, what it does, it kind of level sets the conversation. You're actually not, you're out of the world of subjectivity, not how did you feel like you drove the ball today? Well, let's see how you drove the ball today. Let's have a real conversation as to how we can work on the elements that Clip is telling us to work on. And I think in some cases, that is some of the more powerful components. If a coach and a player can meet at the same place and deal with the same information, you're really well ahead of the game as opposed to having to figure out what each of you are trying to say to each other.
Right. And to elaborate on that, John, like, these kids do not have to be at an age where they can actually communicate with coaches to be able to send us that link. They can send us that information before. It'd be kind of cool to see that in an email, to be able to click on it and see where this player's at, and then watch their progress as they improve over the coming years. I think progress in statistical improvement and scores, if we see that and rankings go up, that's a huge deal. We can see how hard this player's working, and whether or not they're working on the right things, and if they're intelligently doing it.
And coach, and I'm going to ask a question almost, or maybe even make a statement, is that it's not only the good, right? Like I know a lot of junior players get a lot of head trash about, oh, I only want to show them the highlight reel. I want to show them the best stuff. And the reality is, this is golf, and whatever sport you're playing, but specifically golf, there are bad moments. And I think for coaches, what do you want to see from a player? If they're having a tough day, or they hit a few bad shots, or even had a bad result in a tournament, like what would stand out for you as a coach looking at a player that entered in a bad result or a bad round?
Well, I mean, first of all, you're right. Like, coaches are going to find the good, bad, and the ugly, no matter what. Whatever you provide, it doesn't matter. We have ways to figure out everything that's going on in your life regarding the game. For us, when we see you have a bad day, we're out watching you compete. We want to see someone who remains confident, someone that we can tell is sticking to the process and immersed in the moment. Shoulders aren't slumping. They're walking with confidence still. They're fighting out there. They're doing their best to make sure that, they save one or two shots just based on attitude alone. And especially at the collegiate level, we need players that are going to fight for each other out there. That one shot ultimately makes a difference between winning a conference championship and not. And sometimes it can be a 79, that wins the conference championship instead of an 80. And you just don't know. So you just have to fight, stay positive, and work through those things. And we like to be able to see someone that can do that.
Mark, one of the functionalities of Clipped is the ability to have videos imported into a Clipped account. How helpful as a coach in the recruiting process? How helpful is it for you to see not only the stats, the data, the totally objective AI-driven data, but also videos to match with that data?
Yeah, it's a big deal. And going back to kind of marry this into John's conversation about the good, the bad, we want to see a player's transformation, technically. I want to know who you're working with, what type of information you're acquiring from that individual, how it's transferring to the golf course. Are you doing it through drill-oriented practice? And is that is there a transformation in your game? Like, we want to know what you're learning and how it's transferring, right? But we want to be able to see that it's doing it as well over those years. I mean, because young players especially, you're going through growth spurts, you're going through swing changes, you're trying to technically get better at what you do. It's really cool to see those processes. And then it shows you how athletic is this kid, how coachable are they? And those are a big deal when Division I college coaches are looking at you, or any program.
Mark, one last question. How long does it typically take you to ingrain good stats habits into your athletes? And what are the best ways, in your opinion, to introduce junior players to stats data?
What a fantastic question, John. My players, when they first come to us, go through a profiling system that allows us to understand their personalities, who they are, how they show up in pressure environments, and how they can contribute and how they like to process information. And I think that that's a huge piece of statistical data collecting. You know, some of my players really like to dive in and be analytical. Some of them don't. And so that's what I love about Clipped, because it allows a player on all spectrums of what you're looking for to actually use the system the way that you want to use it. And I think that that's a huge advantage for the players that don't necessarily like to get too analytical on the stats. But they can use like the drop down menus for quick wins and, you know, and move into what to work on and improve their practices that way. And it's simple. The system does it for you, which is it's huge. It's a big deal.
We like to say priceless, Mark. Thank you again for your time this evening. John, thank you. Once again, if you're on the webinar, please take a moment to capture that QR code. Get your account set up. Take advantage of the 30-day free trial. The future is here. It's called Clipped. It's what college coaches are going to be using to not only work with their players to get them better faster, but also they're going to use it to determine how they're going to expend their resources to recruit players. So again, to Mark, John, thank you so much for joining us. To those of you on the webinar, thank you so much for joining us, and have a great rest of your evening.
Yeah, thank
Thank you,
guys.
everybody.
Yep. Happy golfing.